So the technical newsletter you shared with us, Andrew Kagan's latest technical news you can possibly use, I mean, this is more than just a list of updates.
No, absolutely. It feels like a historical marker, doesn't it?
It does. This snapshot from mid-December 2025, it really shows in an entire tech ecosystem hitting this dramatic new phase, a new level of maturity and complexity.
Yeah.
So our mission today, really, is to cut through what is, well, it's essentially 8 different deep dives all wrapped into one source.
It's a lot. It spans everything from Azure's core all the way down to enterprise security.
Exactly. And you want to be fully informed on the state of the art right now across all these key domains, but you just don't have the time to wade through all the jargon. So we're pulling out the most important actionable nuggets, linking them together, and giving you that critical context. Okay, let's unpack this.
You know, when you zoom out, the central story here is one of aggressive integration.
Integration, right.
AI is moving from being this side project or a research feature to becoming this central foundational identity layer for every single product Microsoft offers.
Right.
And this massive system-wide acceleration is reshaping how we deploy, use, and maybe most importantly, how we secure our cloud environment. We really need to focus on what happens when AI integration becomes this seamless and the critical security questions that are now just unavoidable.
Let's start at the very top of the stack then, with Azure. If AI is the future, Azure's really aiming to be the premier workshop. What stands out immediately is just the incredible speed. The speed at which these cutting-edge AI models are migrating from research papers into the operational cloud.
Absolutely. We're seeing a new standard for rapid deployment. The biggest announcements are the immediate availability of not just one, but 2 state-of-the-art models inside Microsoft Foundry.
Okay, what are they?
We're talking GPT 5.2 and OpenAI's latest image generation model, GPT Image 1.5. And this isn't some roadmap announcement. It's available now.
Right.
It cements Azure as the place where the very best models are guaranteed to land immediately.
The immediate availability is one thing, but the sheer number of models creates a new problem for developers, right?
Yeah.
Model fatigue. How do you pick the right model for the job when you have dozens of these options?
Well, that's the exact pain point they're addressing. We're seeing the introduction of the Foundry's new model router.
A model router.
Its whole purpose is to simplify that optimal AI model selection. It effectively acts as a traffic controller. It looks at the task requirements of analyzing financial data versus synthesizing creative text, and it automatically routes the request to the most efficient or appropriate model available.
So it reduces the cognitive load on the developer.
Significantly.
It's the difference between asking, where is the best tool, and just saying, do the job, and letting the platform figure it out. And this really speaks to the overall maturation of AI deployment, doesn't it? It's moving out of that fun exploratory phase and into the formal enterprise structure.
Precisely. And that maturity is confirmed by the preview release of the Azure Copilot deployment agent. This isn't just a tool, it integrates directly with the well-architected framework.
That's a huge signal.
It is. It means AI deployments are no longer allowed to be just fun prototypes. They now have to follow established best practices for reliability, cost optimization, and security right out of the gate. This is AI being structured for enterprise scale.
Right. And speaking of structured enterprise deployment, let's shift over into Microsoft 365, because this is where the AI truly enters the daily workflow for millions of people. If Azure is the factory floor for models, M365 is the distribution center for AI agents.
And the primary shift here is what we're calling agentification. We're seeing these really specialized tools built right on top of the M365 environment, like the introduction of specialized SharePoint agents.
Okay, so agents designed for specific tasks.
Exactly. To manage, summarize, and retrieve complex documents within site collections.
But I think the real shocker here is what this means for organizational boundaries. You highlighted the news that Claude, the major LLM from Anthropic, is now operating inside the Microsoft 365 boundary.
Yeah.
This isn't just technical news. This is a strategic earthquake.
It is a massive strategic play. The newsletter confirms that Anthropic is now officially listed as a sub-processor for Microsoft Online Services.
So think about the implications of that.
Right. Microsoft is intentionally embedding a direct competitor to OpenAI, a company they heavily fund right into their most sensitive enterprise data environment.
So is this them hedging their bets against, an over-reliance on OpenAI, or is it something else? Is it about providing the ultimate security layer by abstracting the LLM provider entirely?
It's likely both, but the core implication for your IT and legal teams is trust. You are now formally trusting a third-party LLM provider, Anthropic, with your company's sensitive data, but inside the M365 perimeter. That trust relationship, defined by that subprocessor agreement, is now fundamental to the enterprise AI stack. It shows that model competition is now happening deep inside the enterprise firewall.
And that raises a crucial question about how all these different models and agents, whether they're OpenAI, Claude, or something custom, how do they actually communicate securely and effectively with each other and with your data?
And the key concept repeated throughout this newsletter is the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
MCP.
Correct. The entire push to build declarative agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot hinges on the MCP. The glossary defines it as an open standard designed to enable AI models to access external data, tools, and services in a standardized way.
So if an agent needs to, say, retrieve a document from SharePoint, calculate a number in Excel, or kick off a workflow in Power Automate, it needs a common language to describe those actions.
Exactly. MCP is that standardized interoperability layer. It's the API for the AI age. It's what allows you to use a Claude agent to process data that's secured by a Microsoft identity.
And of course, when you introduce dozens of specialized agents, IT needs governance. You have to know which agent accessed which file and why.
Which is why we see the corresponding governance tools popping up. The release of the new centralized agent dashboard and enhanced reporting gives IT departments that necessary oversight. Monitoring agent activity is now mandatory.
That sounds great, but doesn't a centralized dashboard just add another massive single point of audit risk? I mean, is this truly seamless governance or just a new layer of complexity?
It's necessary complexity. The risk is just too high to ignore it, and the governance tools are now playing catch-up with the speed of agent creation. It's all connected.
More agents, more risk, more tools.
Precisely. And for our listeners tracking licensing, the Microsoft 365 E3 and E5 licenses just got upgraded to reflect all this new capability, essentially making these AI agents the default expectation now.
Okay, so the automation we see in M365 is impressive. But for users who are dealing with line-of-business applications, the story shifts to much higher stakes decision-making. Let's look at the Power Platform in Dynamics 365.
This is a critical functional shift. The AI here is no longer just summarizing or drafting emails, it's entering the approval chain. We're seeing the introduction of automating decision-making with AI approvals in Copilot Studio.
That is a massive jump in functional responsibility for these low-code platforms. And AI might now be approving a multi-thousand-dollar purchase order or greenlighting a critical client proposal.
Which demands total trust in the data source. And what enables that shift? Again, it's the infrastructure standardization. The newsletter highlights how Microsoft's Dataverse MCP server levels up Copilot Studio and Power Apps.
So it's that MCP standard again.
It is. Dataverse is the foundational database for the Power Platform. By integrating the MCP standard here, they ensure that the data being used to prompt these AI decision makers is standardized, trusted, and universally accessible across the whole stack.
It really shows how foundational the Model Context Protocol is becoming. It's the unifying language for agents and data.
Exactly. And while AI is accelerating the automation, we should note the ongoing traditional investment in the platform itself. You know, the Power BI 2025 holiday recap and the 4 essential Power BI tips. It reminds us that you can't automate what you can't first measure and organize.
Good point. Business processes still depend on that reliable data infrastructure.
Yep.
Now let's pivot hard to the back end. Let's focus on efficiency and raw speed in DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure. The story here is integration and a performance revolution.
Right, and it's all designed to handle the massive data demands of these new AI workloads. The first part of that efficiency story is the tight integration of GitHub Copilot across the entire development lifecycle.
So it's everywhere now.
It's ubiquitous. We see Azure Board's integration with GitHub Copilot tying AI assistance into task tracking and improvements to Windows Terminal with the GitHub Copilot CLI. It's reducing the friction in what we now call prompt-driven development, or PDD.
And PDD is accelerating release cycles dramatically. If you're pushing code that fast, you need rock-solid, mature infrastructure to support it.
Exactly. Which is why we see 2 major general availability announcements. Azure DevOps Server is now production ready, and crucially, the Microsoft testing platform is now fully supported within Azure DevOps.
The tools are catching up.
The tools needed to maintain stability in a world of rapid AI-assisted coding are finally in place.
So what does this all mean for raw performance? I see the true infrastructure nugget here. The introduction of native NVMe in Windows Server 2025. Build as a new era of storage performance.
This is huge. For listeners who aren't deep in storage protocols, think of it this way. Older protocols like SATA were like a single-lane road with stoplights. NVMe or non-volatile memory express is like a multi-lane high-speed rail line.
So it dramatically reduces latency and boosts throughput.
By allowing data to flow directly to solid-state drives, it's critical because AI and deep analytics workloads don't just need a lot of data. They need that data immediately. The speed of the AI is now often gated by the speed of the storage.
Right, and on the security infrastructure side.
We see the modernizing of Entra ID authentication flows using WebView 2 and Windows 11, just assuring that modern auth methods are integrated cleanly and securely into the desktop environment.
Okay, so let's delve deeper into the brain of these AI systems in the data analytics and AI section. We've established that individual agents can make decisions. But how do you handle complex, multi-step processes?
Multi-agent systems. We're clearly moving past the single AI interactions. The article on how agent handoffs work highlights this. For example, a SharePoint agent might retrieve and summarize a contract and then hand off the context to a Power Platform agent to start an approval workflow.
And this is more than just passing a document. It requires a standardized method for transferring context, control, and state without losing anything.
And the standardized method is defined in the glossary as A2A, the agent-to-agent protocol. This allows agents built by different developers or even different platforms to interact and collaborate seamlessly.
So if MCP is the grammar for one agent talking to a tool,
A2A is the standardized rulebook for two different agents to hand over control and continue a task. It's the next level of complexity beyond the MCP standard.
and this infrastructure is necessary to support the sheer scale of modern data. That brings us to the unified data platform. I'm seeing the Microsoft Fabric 2025 Holiday Recap.
The practical application of this is huge. The newsletter talks about building a petabyte-scale data platform with Fabric using SQL telemetry. These systems are being built to handle massive, real-time data streams and make that data immediately available to the multi-agent systems we just discussed.
Scale and collaboration, got it. That naturally brings us to the critical, unavoidable concerns. Security, compliance, and privacy. Everything we've just discussed, the new agents, the external LLMs, the automated decisions, it all introduces entirely new vectors of risk.
And that risk starts with identity. The introduction of the new Microsoft Entra Agent ID is significant. It means AI agents are now first-class identities within the enterprise security structure.
So if an agent can approve a financial transaction or modify a database, it needs an identity that can be monitored, secured, and audited, just like a human employee.
Exactly. You can't have shadow AI agents running around. For IT admins, this means you need to start treating the permissions of your AI agents with the same zero-trust rigor you use for high-privilege human users. You need to audit that agent ID immediately.
This is where it gets really interesting, though, because the source material flags a direct, profound danger. Copilot no-code AI agents may leak company data.
That is the crucial alert. It connects everything.
The very ease of creating these no-code agents in platforms like Copilot Studio is a massive security liability waiting to happen.
It is. If the agent creator doesn't properly scope the agent's access or context, say, they inadvertently give it permissions to a sensitive HR folder when it only needs to check the weather, the agent could easily be prompted to pull and expose sensitive company data.
So the threat isn't the hacker. It's the well-meaning but ill-scoped low-code builder.
A new, serious form of data leak vulnerability. And the traditional threat landscape hasn't gone anywhere either. We also see a detailed analysis of a modern exploit called consent fix.
Consent fix, what is that?
It's a browser-native, click-fix-style OAuth consent hijack attack. In plain English, attackers are finding subtle ways to trick the browser into confirming complex authentication flows without the user fully realizing they just handed over access.
So the industry response has to modernize just as fast.
It has to. The newsletter touches on transforming data collection for AI-ready security operations with Microsoft Sentinel and modernizing cloud security with the next-generation Microsoft Defender for Cloud. It's a classic arms race, but the battlefield is shifting from network endpoints to agent permissions and data flows.
So for our learner audience, all this innovation really begs the question, how do you future-proof your skills in this world? The newsletter has some pretty direct, practical advice.
It does, and the fundamentals remain vital. We see the release of FreeCodeCamp's new Python certification, coupled with a practical guide on YAML in Python.
So Python is still king.
It remains the fundamental language for data science, scripting, and interacting with these AI APIs. But you have to start specializing in the AI layer immediately. The suggestion to start learning AI skills with Google skills highlights that need for foundational, platform-agnostic AI knowledge.
And critically, to truly manage the systems we just dissected, the ones using Claude, agents, Power Platform, you have to understand the underlying plumbing.
Which is why that technical article, How Does an MCP Work Under the Hood, is essential reading. If you are touching Copilot or Power Platform, the Model Context Protocol is your foundation now. You have to know its strengths and its limitations.
And looking toward the long-term horizon, I see a provocative skill area mentioned, the Beginner's Guide to Quantum Cryptography for IT professionals.
Yeah, and while that's not an immediate concern for your daily operations, it signals the eventual disruptive change coming to global security. Understanding the basics now positions you for the next wave.
Okay, finally, let's zoom out to the broader industry news and trends to wrap up. The title here is Provocative. Build versus buy. Is dead AI just killed it?
This is perhaps the biggest strategic takeaway in the entire newsletter. For decades, organizations have debated whether to custom build software or buy off the shelf.
Classic dilemma.
This trend suggests that these highly capable, platform-integrated AI tools, the Copilot and agent features we've been discussing, are so powerful and immediate that the traditional custom build route is becoming strategically inefficient, obsolete even for many core business functions.
It changes the entire mandate of the internal IT department. Why spend a year building a custom expense report system when a few declarative agents on the Power Platform can handle 90% of the logic right now?
Exactly. The buy option now comes with an embedded, state-of-the-art AI development team baked right in, and this strategic pivot toward interoperability is formalized by the move to openness. We noted the decision to donate MCP, the Model Context Protocol, to the Linux Foundation.
Which confirms MCP is not just a proprietary Microsoft standard. By making it open, they're encouraging cross-vendor interoperability.
And ensuring that the A2A agent collaboration we talked about can truly happen universally, not just within their ecosystem. It locks in the protocol as foundational for everyone.
Meanwhile, regulation continues to tighten. I see CISA updates cybersecurity benchmarks for critical infrastructure organizations.
More AI, more automation, more compliance pressure. The need for centralized visibility and structured deployment is only going to increase.
So to quickly recap our deep dive, the major theme across all 8 domains is the ubiquitous rise of these specialized AI agents, from SharePoint to Power Platform. They're all enabled and connected by that vital Model Context Protocol open standard. But this acceleration comes with a direct, immediate, and unavoidable cost.
Which is the necessary security vigilance, particularly around the high risk of data leakage posed by these easily created no-code agents. So if we connect this back to that provocative build versus buy is dead trend, we can leave you with this final thought to explore on your own. If the primary role of IT shifts dramatically from writing custom application code to primarily managing, securing, and integrating advanced AI agents, which this newsletter strongly suggests is happening, how will you structure your internal development and security teams to manage that new reality? Think about the fundamental skill shift needed to manage agents instead of managing developers.